Cozy Backyard Retreats 2025, Creative Terrace and Small Garden Design Ideas. In the year 2025, the backyard is no longer just an afterthought. It has evolved into something more than a patch of grass or a concrete terrace. It has become an extension of the home's very soul, a place where architecture and nature meet, where every detail tells a story. For those living in small homes, the challenge and the beauty lies in maximizing every square inch. We don't simply arrange furniture and plants, we compose a living, breathing space. Every inch must serve a purpose, yet still leave room for air, for light, for the feeling of openness. One of the defining approaches this year is the concept of zoned spaces. Imagine stepping into your terrace or garden and immediately sensing the quiet rhythm of its design. Here is a dining zone outlined with a simple outdoor rug, framed by planters spilling green life. A small bistro table, slightly elevated on a wooden deck, becomes a breakfast corner kissed by the morning sun. Step further and find a lounging space, perhaps a cushioned bench tucked beneath the lattice of a pergola, filtered light dancing across the fabric, a place to lose yourself in a book or in the gentle hum of a summer afternoon. The planting design is the heartbeat of the retreat. We layer greenery in soft tiers, tall swaying grasses and bamboo for privacy, mid-height shrubs to shape the structure, and at the base, low flowers that paint the ground with bursts of colour. On a terrace, space is precious, so the walls rise to meet the garden. Vertical planters, cascading vines, lushness without consuming the floor. And it's not just what you see, it's what you breathe, what you feel. Jasmine releasing its fragrance at dusk, lavender catching the breeze, mint brushing against your hand as you pass. A garden should awaken the senses, gently, deliberately. Furniture in such a space must be as intelligent as it is beautiful. A foldable dining set that vanishes when not needed, a storage bench that hides cushions and blankets, modular seating that adapts to an intimate evening or a lively gathering. In 2025, we choose materials that endure. Teak with its warm grain, rattan weaving lightness into structure, powder-coated metal standing firm against the weather. To clothe these pieces, we turn to earthy tones, burnt orange that recalls autumn sunsets, sage green whispering of forests, soft beige that settles the eye. Each cushion, each throw adds not just comfort, but texture, warmth, a hint of story. As day fades into night, lighting becomes the subtle artist. String lights looped above, casting a gentle constellation overhead, solar path lights tracing a quiet line through the garden, lanterns glowing like captured fireflies. On terraces, slim LED strips hide beneath railings, slipping light into the edges, enough to reveal, never to overwhelm. This is light for conversation, for reflection, for the silence between the words. And then, there is water. Even the smallest retreat can hold its music, a tabletop fountain sending ripples of sound into the air, a slender reflecting pool catching the blush of sunset. On a terrace wall, a sheet of water falling like silk, or a simple ceramic bowl where water rests. These are not just decorations, they are breathing spaces, moments of calm made visible. The final signature is in the details, tiles patterned like fragments of faraway cities, an outdoor rug that anchors the space, planters that sculpt as much as they contain, mirrors set against a wall, doubling the sense of space, inviting the eye to wander further than the garden allows. And through it all runs the thread of sustainability, reclaimed wood, repurposed metal. Native plants drinking only the water they need. Each choice not only shapes beauty, but honours the world beyond the backyard. In the end, a cozy backyard retreat is a balance. Function meeting beauty, privacy holding openness, the city on the wall. And yet, you, untouched by its rush. Here you unwind. You sip coffee as the first light breaks. You share quiet laughter under the stars. And the size of the space becomes irrelevant. Because in 2025, it is not the dimensions of the garden that define it, but the depth of the feeling it inspires. And even the smallest terrace can become a world entirely your own. When we approach the second stage of designing a backyard retreat in 2025, we begin to think not just about arrangement, but about flow. The way one moves through the space, the transitions between zones, how each moment feels. Before you even arrive there, it starts with pathways. In a small home's outdoor area, a path may be no more than a line of pavers or a slender deckboard trail weaving between planters. Yet, this path guides the experience. It tells your guests where to walk, and more importantly, where to pause. Materials matter. A stone pathway carries a grounded, timeless presence, while warm-toned wooden planks bring an organic softness. In compact terraces, stepping tiles set within gravel can subtly separate one area from another without building physical barriers that would shrink the space. This is where the visual layering becomes a powerful tool. We place taller elements toward the back, stepping down toward the foreground so that every glance reveals depth. This illusion enlarges even the smallest plot, inviting the eye to wander deeper than the real boundaries allow. We also consider the vertical dimension. Walls, railings, pergola beams all become surfaces for design. Trellises supporting climbing roses, slim wooden slats holding pots of herbs, wire grids where ivy can take root and soften the hard edges. By drawing the gaze upward, we create a sense of expansiveness and allow nature to embrace the architecture. Now, let us talk about focal points. Every successful backyard has at least one, sometimes more. It might be a single sculptural tree, its canopy offering shade to a bench below, or perhaps a statement planter, glazed in a colour that catches the light. On a terrace, it could be a striking wall feature, a panel of patterned tiles, or an art piece designed to weather gracefully outdoors. Focal points anchor the composition, they give the eye a place to rest, and the heart a reason to linger. In terms of functionality, adaptability is key. The modern small space retreat is dynamic, able to shift with the seasons and with the changing needs of its owner. We design furniture that folds away, shading solutions that retract, planters that can be rearranged to welcome or shield, everything intentional, and the climate, we must always respond to it. In hotter regions, shade sails or bamboo blinds filter the sun. In cooler climates, a compact fire pit or patio heater extends the outdoor season. Even the smallest source of warmth can transform a chilly evening into an intimate gathering. Textures play a subtle but powerful role. Smooth, polished wood meets the rough grain of stone. Soft fabrics touch the hand, while woven baskets or rattan add visual rhythm. By combining textures, we stimulate the senses without overwhelming them. We must also remember the soundscape. A backyard retreat is not only seen, it is heard. The rustle of ornamental grasses in the wind, the gentle splash of water, the distant hum of bees visiting lavender blooms. Design can invite these sounds by selecting plants and features that speak softly to the air. As evening deepens, our layered lighting once again takes center stage. We think in terms of light hierarchy. Primary lighting for visibility, secondary accents to highlight textures or plants, and ambient light for mood. On a terrace, a hidden uplight behind a potted olive tree can turn it into a living sculpture after dark. And while we speak of sculpture, art belongs in outdoor spaces, whether in the form of hand-thrown pottery, a carved wooden panel, or even a simple arrangement of stones that catches the last light of day. These touches, unique to each home, elevate the retreat beyond function into poetry. Finally, we weave in personal rituals. Perhaps a small table where the morning coffee always sits, a reading chair placed exactly where the sunset paints the wall, a cluster of herbs in pots, ready to be clipped for tonight's dinner. These are the human fingerprints within the design, the things that make the space not just beautiful, but truly yours. Because in 2025, a backyard retreat is not about copying a trend, it is about composing a personal harmony, where design and life meet in perfect measure. In the third stage of shaping a backyard retreat for 2025, we begin to explore seasonal adaptability, because a space that only thrives for a few months is not truly fulfilling its potential. We think about how it breathes with the year. In spring, the garden wakes. Soft greens push through the soil, flower buds swell with promise. The design should welcome this renewal. Planters placed where the first sunlight touches. Seating arranged to enjoy the crisp morning air. Summer brings vibrancy and warmth. Here, shade becomes essential. Light fabrics billow in the breeze. An awning or pergola canopy offers cool shelter. Water features, with their shimmer and sound, become natural gathering points. Cushions and throws shift to lighter fabrics, colours inspired by sunlit leaves and ocean skies. Autumn arrives quietly, shadows lengthen, the air turns richer. We lean into deeper tones, burnt amber, chestnut, olive, and prepare the space for moments of reflection. Planters transition to hardy blooms and ornamental grasses. Furniture is arranged closer together, inviting conversation and warmth. And winter, even in its stillness, the retreat lives on. A fire pit flickers against the chill. Lanterns cast golden halos on bare branches. Evergreens stand as guardians of the space, and the architecture itself becomes the art, a frame for the quiet beauty of the season. Designing for all 4 seasons means choosing plants with staggered bloom times, incorporating elements that remain beautiful even when bare, and having storage solutions for accessories that rotate with the months. Now, let us speak of colour psychology. In compact outdoor areas, colour must be intentional. Warm hues create intimacy. Cool tones open the space visually. A single bold colour, perhaps on a door, a planter, or a wall, can define the personality of the retreat. While neutrals keep the atmosphere calm and cohesive, we also consider light and shadow as part of the design. Slatted pergolas that let sunlight dance across the floor, tall plants that sway and break the light into shifting patterns. In small spaces, these effects add movement and keep the eye engaged. Material selection is another cornerstone. We combine durability with beauty. Natural stone for permanence, weather-resistant woods for warmth. Powder-coated metals for sleek resilience. The tactile quality of each surface should invite touch, because a retreat is experienced not just through sight, but through the hands and the body. Water once again returns to the conversation, but now we think about its seasonal personality. In summer, it cools and refreshes. In autumn, it reflects the warm tones of falling leaves. In winter, it stills into a mirror for the low sun. Even a small ceramic basin can transform with the seasons, making it a living element of the design. And while our focus has been on beauty and comfort, functionality remains the foundation. This is where we integrate storage seamlessly. Hidden compartments in benches, slim vertical cabinets that blend into walls, low planters doubling as side tables, every feature working twice so the space never feels cluttered. Sound too changes with the year. The hum of summer insects, the rustle of dry autumn leaves, the muffled hush of snowfall. We design so these sounds can be heard by placing seating away from street noise and planting vegetation that softens urban echoes. At night, the lighting strategy adapts. In summer, it's light and playful, string lights and lanterns leading the way. In winter, it's warm and concentrated, clusters of light gathered where people sit. We control brightness carefully, so the space always feels intentional. Never washed out, never too dark. Ultimately, seasonal adaptability makes a backyard retreat truly alive. It becomes a stage for the ongoing performance of nature, and the homeowner becomes both audience and participant, welcoming the changes and finding beauty in every moment the year offers. In this final stage of our journey into crafting a backyard retreat for 2025, we turn our attention to the soul of the space, that intangible essence that makes a garden or terrace not just beautiful, but unforgettable. It begins with storytelling through design. Every choice, every material, every colour, every plant can be a chapter in the narrative. Perhaps the wood of your bench is reclaimed from an old family home, or the ceramic tiles are hand-painted in patterns that remind you of travels abroad. These personal anchors give the retreat authenticity. They transform it from a generic outdoor area into a living reflection of who you are. We consider movement and rhythm, how the eye travels from one element to the next, how the body flows through the space, a narrow walkway that widens into a sitting nook, a low planter that leads the gaze to a taller focal point. a curve in the path that invites curiosity. These are subtle orchestral cues in the symphony of design. And then there is the relationship with the home itself. A retreat should not feel like an afterthought. It should feel like an extension of the architecture. Sightlines from interior rooms must frame the garden as a living artwork, a kitchen window that opens onto herbs in raised beds, a living room view that aligns perfectly with a flowering tree, so that indoors and outdoors become one continuous experience. In small homes, this integration is even more critical. Glass doors that slide open to merge spaces, floor materials that echo each other between inside and out, color palettes that connect the terrace with the interior rooms. These techniques make the retreat feel larger than its boundaries. Now let us speak of ritual and atmosphere. Because the best spaces do not just look right, they feel right. We create areas that invite daily moments. The first coffee of the morning, the pause between work and dinner, the quiet conversation under the stars. Lighting is adjusted for intimacy, seating arranged to encourage closeness, fragrance from nearby plants drifting into the evening air. Sustainability remains at the core. In 2025, our designs embrace responsibility without sacrificing elegance. We harvest rainwater for irrigation. We select native species that require less care. We reuse and repurpose materials to reduce waste. Even the smallest gesture, like composting plant trimmings, becomes part of the design philosophy. We also think about future flexibility. Life changes, and so should the retreat. A small play corner for a child today might become a meditative reading nook in a few years. Modular elements, movable planters, and adaptable lighting ensure the space can evolve without losing harmony. Textures, colors, and materials are woven with deliberate restraint so that nothing feels overwhelming. And yet, every corner has its own quiet personality. The balance between order and spontaneity, between design and nature's gentle chaos, is what keeps the retreat alive over time. As we conclude, we return to the idea that size is never the limitation. Only imagination can limit the experience. A terrace barely wider than a hallway can feel expansive. A narrow backyard can unfold like a journey if designed with care, intention, and love for the craft. And when you step into this retreat, you are stepping into more than a garden. You are entering a dialogue between you and the living world, between architecture and nature, between past memories and the ones yet to be made. This is the heart of a cozy backyard retreat in 2025. A space that breathes with the seasons, that carries your personal story, and that welcomes you every morning, every evening, as a sanctuary of style, comfort, and belonging.